でその箱ごと買えばいいじゃない。でもね買わないっていうの毎回なんかねスーパーで箱ごと買うと全部飲んじゃうからって言って買わないって言ってでビールがないぞって言ってとことこ買いに行くの。面白いでしょ来た乗っ取られる誰に乗っ取られました。
So there's a problem with the lawyer.
Oh really?
Yeah, we can't buy a house because we can't prove our address because we don't have a house.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Can you say that now?
I just did. No, there's a problem with the lawyer. If when we decide to buy a house, they have to do know your customer anti-money laundering checks, right? And one of the checks they have to do is you have to prove your address, right? But we don't have an address, right? I mean, we're staying here in an Airbnb, right?
So 何?
So we don't have any of the documents that the lawyer requires for us to prove our current address. It's ironic because we're trying to buy a house so that we can get an address, but in order to buy a house we have to have an address, right?
わかりましたみんな今ダリーが言ったこと。これ事件ですよ。本当に明日ちょっとビデオに出さなきゃいけないかもしれない。もしかしてメインチャンネル見てください。本当にこれはただのお茶ですから。今ビデオのライブをやってたんですが、でそのライブが終わってリアとリポンも買いに行こうとしてるんですが、そのライブの中でダディがなんか突然すごい重大なニュースを言ったんですね。ちょっとその詳細を聞いてみたいと思います。So, can we buy a house or not?
The issue is the solicitor, the lawyer, who we've asked to act on our behalf for the house purchase, needs us to provide an acceptable proof of address. Okay? It's part of their Know Your Customer anti-money laundering requirements, like a bank, okay? But we don't have an address at the moment. So, for example, they've asked me to provide a bank statement with our address, or a credit card statement with our address, or utility bills with our address. But we don't have utility bills at the moment because we're staying in an Airbnb.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We haven't changed our bank account addresses yet because we're staying in an Airbnb.
Yeah.
I've asked the lawyer to call me to discuss options. Of course, I've got everything for Spain. Utility bills, bank statements, tax returns, ID cards, all of which show our Spanish address, but we're not living there anymore. There has to be a solution, because ultimately, if you were a homeless person, okay, and then you won the lottery and you wanted to buy a house, of course, ultimately you would be able to buy a house. Right?
Yeah.
Nobody could say you can't buy a house because you haven't got an address.
Yeah. Right. And we're buying a house because we haven't got one.
Well, exactly. Right.
Strange.
It's the type of circumstances which aren't fully anticipated when processes are designed. Okay. I mean, it's the same problem trying to open an account for you at the moment, right?
Yeah.
We've left where we were living.
Yeah.
And this is with the bank that I used to work for, okay? So they know who I am, right? They know who you are, right? But for you to open an account with that bank in the UK, they need you to prove your address, but you can't prove your address because we don't have an address. We don't have our own address. We're staying in temporary rented accommodation via Airbnb. So, that's the argument or the problem we've been having with the bank to open your account. And it's exactly the same problem with the lawyer handling the house purchase. I've asked the lawyer to call me.
Okay. Yeah, hope it wouldn't be a problem. And you won't take longer.
Well, ultimately there has to be a solution to it, because,
Yeah.
as I said, if you were a homeless person because you hadn't got any money, and suddenly, you know, somebody gave you a load of money, or you won the lottery or something, or you suddenly became a, you know, famous rock star and made millions of pounds, and you wanted to buy a house, obviously you would eventually be able to do it. But you know, we're caught in a catch-22 at the moment because we don't have a permanent address. We can't prove our address, which we need to do to open a bank account for you in the UK, and also to actually proceed with the house purchase procedure. So,
ということですね。どうなるでしょうか。
いい天気ですね。
ここ数日すごいいい天気だったんですね。昨日とか28度だったんですけども、またイギリスの天気になりましたね。ということで、またニュースが出ましたらお伝えいたします。
Que solo palabras, y si no las cumples, se van a desvanecer. Algún día volverás tú al lado mío, y yo de testigo. Vamos 1, 2, 3, sin estrés. Muéstrame sus pasos, te cuento hasta 10 y ven. Yo sé que tú quieres
£3.20.
moverlo sin pena.
Hi, can we have 2 flat white, please? One with 1 sugar and the other with no sugar.
Yeah, I'm good.
No, thank you. Okay. Let's see. I used to think drive-through was not British. But, yeah, it's like an American thing. But especially, well, I think before I left the UK, I mean, I don't think I'd ever seen a drive-through in the UK ever. And now they seem to be quite common. I don't know whether they've just appeared because of the pandemic, or they were appearing before, probably before. They've probably become more popular. But yeah, like ordering Burger King for 8 people in Spain with a speaker where you couldn't hear what they're saying. You know?
Yeah, it was really nice.
And then they like throw like half a dozen.
No, like 3 people came up to.
I know, but you know, all the
like
drinks
5
and things get spilled in the car. And, okay, thanks. Here you go. It's yours.
Black white, this one?
Yeah.
The sugar no daddy.
Sé que tú quieres conmigo morir.